Okay. I'm just gonna do pull from one more deck and I'm done. It's like a lot of cards that came out today. It's weird shuffling on a live stream because the vibe is different. Okay. Yeah. This is my cat. This is my cat heaven. Okay. Covered in cat hair. Okay. I'll just show you all the cards first and then I'll read them. Okay, so we have citrine. We have the ancient wisdom crystal. The Nine of Wands. So I think I have to put my glasses on. I think instead of just like listing the cards, I'll just start the reading. These are just like drugstore glasses, so they're like more distorted, but I can still read. All right. Okay, there's some. I'm just feeling the vibe of the viewers and stuff, so I'm just gonna try to ground myself for a second. Okay. All right, so like I said before, I was just trying to pick like one card or two, one or two cards from each deck, but there was like 4 or 5 coming out that wanted to stay. With the Universal Golden Tarot deck, this was on the bottom of the deck. That's like a super nice card. Yeah, just like just looking at this card, it just feels so like it is heaven sent, right? But the vibes I'm getting are like super, just like this card, it's like an overflowing communication or gift from source energy and sort of all-encompassing, which is great. It's super powerful. Okay. And then also from the Golden Universal deck, we have the Hermit, the Three of Pentacles. Okay, without the glare. The Knight of Pentacles. And upside down, 8 of Swords. So, okay. Still dealing with like cat hair. All right. Just pardon me while I take my time just looking at these for a second. I don't know what, like, okay, not to obsess about the energy of the viewers and stuff, but I'm still feeling that. Like I'm not always gonna do necessarily daily readings, but I just felt like it the last week or so, and I had taken like a year or so pause before that of doing readings, but so I kind of feel like one of the issues that one of the viewers has is like having to do with wanting the reading to be a certain format, but listen, and it is what it is. There's 1,000,001 good free tarot readings out there, and this is just but one of them. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I feel like in this hermit phase, the the person is really seeing the light, really connecting now with like the universal life force and light around them. And it is shedding light on how like old and outdated their self-perception is, and that they've really allowed too much time to pass in a state of like a closed perceptual ability, and they're just kind of like, whoa, I wasted so much time like making my life a lot more drab than I needed to, and I'm overwhelmed. Not just overwhelmed, but like it the light and the knowledge is like replacing, in that sense of the word overwhelmed, like overpowering the old ego version of themselves. And there's kind of like no going back, because to go backwards would feel like really giving up to like the nth degree to this person, which is really amazing progress. So whatever time they took to actually contemplate their life or how they perceive really paid off. So that's really cool. And so now there's like this sense of building with, in line with including spirituality in their life, and to make something like beautiful, productive, and solid, which is great. And that puts them in the position of making a solid offer. Maybe they're new to this game, but nonetheless, here it is. And like I said yesterday, like, you know, here's no offer. Here's my offer. Like, it may not be a king, but it's still an offer, whereas like, you know, it could just not exist. So let's appreciate this for what it is. And coming out of this like tortured, woe's me, overwhelmed phase towards all this like positive insight, building, offering energy, which it's like a really good, I get kind of chills just saying that. So that's really cool. And, you know, as a result of the background energy of that is like the universe has spoken and made this offer that this person feels is super tangible and I can't ignore. And it's like, it's almost like you can take that, like it feels really real, and, you know, take the gift. So that's really great. And here's a card from my deck. And to me, this feels like awareness. Like my eyes are open to what's going on now. So that's like, again, reinforcing what we just talked about. All right. In the Tarot of Sexual Magic deck, we have this depiction of the Four of Swords. So normally the Four of Swords is, you know, taking time to contemplate. And I'm kind of interested in their definition. It's always different. Okay, where am I? What? Okay. I'm going to take some liberties in choosing parts of this to read. Okay. Okay, sorry. Like it's the morning, so it's like there's certain words I don't feel like saying at this time. that is like the first word off this card. Excitement allows you to overcome a lack of affection. However, if this should continue, you will have to seek forgiveness and not punish yourself excessively for your errors. Okay, so I guess they're talking about like succumbing to desire over love, and that continued activity in that line will bring you to a place where you have to forgive yourself and not punish yourself excessively for your errors. So it's like, okay, so you've realized that you've been indulging in things that are not love-based, and it's created this, those temporary, the temporary pleasure has put you in a, like, made your life suck, basically. And now it's like maybe there's the temptation to be a bit of a drama queen about like where it has put you, or like, oh, this result came of that, and it's like, well, of course you get that result, but it's like, but you're maybe beating yourself up about it too much instead of just moving on into good behavior that serves you. And it's like, you don't need to just stay in that cycle of like bad behavior and then covering that, like, instead of moving forward and just making like one baby step of positive movement forward like this, it's not a baby step, it's like it's a night, so it's a bit more mature, but you're in the position now to move forward and build something positive with the, connected with your insight, instead of continuing in this cycle where you just like throw everything aside for passion, and then you suffer the consequences of that, and then you bury that with addiction, and then you find someone new to like continue this cycle over and over again, instead of just going like, what, I just woke up, I just had, undeniable like spiritual intervention to give me insight. It took some time to think about it, to get out of my mental anguish, so that I can move forward and make an offer that is solid and like in connection with spiritual insight. Okay. So now we have the 9 of Wands. So I guess like the vibes today are like, sorry, I keep saying the word like all the time. I'm gonna calm down. Just a second. Okay, wait. It's the 9 of Wands. Energy and reserve stored up for when you finally, they didn't say finally, for when you decide to use it. Right, so, okay. So you've been spending a lot of time in contemplation, storing up this energy and insight after suffering, because you've been creating these like this cyclical life where you're just seeking pleasure, like temporary pleasure, and then getting hurt from it and it going nowhere, and just teaching you karmic lessons and ego death. And now you're at the point where it's like, where am I going to take this? I have so much energy. Where am I going to take this focused action? And I mean, it seems pretty clear that through contemplation, you're gonna like use the spiritual gifts to give you strength to come forward and make this solid offer so that you can build something real and something like very satisfying. And yesterday's energy was more about like the 10 of Cups and emotional fulfillment. But now it's like you've moved from the sort of heartwarming thought of creating something with this person to it grounding itself and feeling more solid. So it's less like, yeah, so it's moving down from the ethers like into reality, which is like a nice shift from yesterday to today. Also, we have these cards from the Hermetic Tarot. I don't know why I was smile when I mentioned that deck, but I guess, I'll understand that in time. All right, Ace of Pentacles, the King of Wands, the Last Judgment, the Three of Swords, and the Two of Wands. Okay. So maybe part of today's energy is like, even though yesterday you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. I love this person, or I want to go towards this energy of this more feminine energy to create and bring about my fulfillment. Oh, sorry. And just turn off the noise. Okay. Yeah, so we're back into like that, the balance between you beating yourself up and making this offer, like, so, but this wave of spiritual insight has kind of squashed this karmic cycle that you've been stuck in. So there's kind of no going back, which is cool. Okay. I think it's partly because I'm wearing these different glasses that have like a more distorted lens, but I'll do my best. Okay, here we are. I think that when I look at the Ace of Pentacles card, I kind of see that the person I'm talking about views spirituality as like religion, and is sort of overwhelmed with the notion of that this, like these flowers, this creative element of like source energy, this all ties into a very structured, but in reality, like it's really just the creator creating, and like ideas can solidify into systems, but they don't, often the systems are distortions of the individual who is perceiving creative energy, right? So we can't get too caught up in the weaving of different people's perceptions of source energy and get sort of trapped in what ends up becoming like a spider's web. We can't ignore like this basic, beautiful, creative energy, and like, you might want to think less about this, just what I said, like the distortions of each individual that are naturally prejudiced in one way or the other from their experiences. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater when you're making your offer. Like, don't think that any inspiration is like weirdly tied up in other people's stories throughout the ages, aka religion, right? Because religion is like a human invention that is based on people connecting with spirit. And that is a less pure form of interaction than you yourself interacting with spirit. And hopefully, if people find religion useful, it's as a school or a wake up call to like, hey, this thing exists, and here's a bunch of my buddies who had these cool experiences, and maybe one day you'll have one too. It doesn't have to be about like doctrine and getting caught in this web. Like it's more about sensing this creative force that you are naturally linked to, that in your body is made to interact with this natural force, and as a receiver and transmitter of energy. So yeah, so don't get all caught up in over analyzing everything. It looks like he's sort of like a dentist checking her teeth or shutting her up or feeling her forehead. I'm not really even sure what he's doing, but it seems like an unwelcome intervention. All right, so that's the Ace of Pentacles. The King of Wands. Next, I'm gonna have a look at that. So I've heard some people describe them, the lion, as like the feminine energy. That may be so. But in this case, it kind of feels like I'm vibing with that a bit, because you have the King of Wands harnessing the feminine energy to go forth and towards his passionate goals. So, and in the sense of the like soulmate twin flame relationship, you do need each other to make this movement forward. But in the King energy, it's like domineering. And when I look at this card, there's the temptation to be argumentative in this coupling, or acknowledging his, and when I say his, I mean the masculine energy. It doesn't apply to gender necessarily. So there's an acceptance that like, yes, I need you, we need to work together, but it's like, hey, I'm used to being in charge, and I'm used to being above the feminine energy and making it do what I want. But the King energy isn't the highest, most wise it's powerful. Anyway, so the temptation is to perhaps argue, and it's like you're really gonna have to like bring it down a notch if a conversation happens where it's like you can't deny that they've engaged their spiritual powers, that they have, like, in a way, these flames around her are similar to the flames he has around, not flames, but the energy he has around his head. Yes, you're very powerful. Yes, you've had your spiritual awakening, all fine and good. But it's like, I don't think we need this leash happening anytime soon. This is what I'm saying. So, and I do feel that it wouldn't take much to like drop the leash, and it's like, yeah, let's just do this together. But there's some, I think that the masculine character in this case needs to accept, like, yeah, you are powerful. That's awesome. And that's woken you up to the fact that, like, respect and working together is a thing, as opposed to being in, like, a domineering energy, which hasn't really gotten you anywhere, has it? 'Cause it's created a lot of suffering. And now you're, like, ready to build because you were inspired, because you took some time to think about it. So now you're gonna make, like, a proper grown-up offering, which is cool. All right, so that's that card. And then we have the Last Judgment. I'm happy to see some major arcana in here, because it's, like, super on. That's what's going on. Okay, so I'm gonna have a look at this. Really, like, these videos are motivation for me to get my prescription renewed. All right, so we have in the Last Judgment, it's like a figure that's rising from the dead in unity, like unity consciousness. You have the spirit guides surrounding this figure and the angels helping lift things, and the announcements, like that, like there's like an announcement that's heard across the universe, you know, to that this thing has passed. There's been some graduation from living in the 3D only to, like, okay, it's like you got your driver's license, you know, it's like, congratulations, you can now drive the car of your dreams, because you managed to, like, get out of your coffin life, because you're listening to your guides and angels. And I know, like, in my case, and I've heard other readers mention this too, that, like, when you do something right, sometimes you feel this, like, crowd in the background going, like, yes, or like applause, like there's an audience, a bit like is that movie, what's that movie called, like, I think it's called The Truman Show. It's a bit like that, where you have this awareness of spiritual help on the other side, like like some people say that living on Earth is like an experiment, or that people they're watching carefully to see if we can overcome. And I get a lot of, like, emotional wave when I talk about this, from not just me. If we can overcome this blindness and help each other ascend. So it's like really hard to talk all of a sudden. Okay, I gotta get back in the flow. Yeah, so when you do something that is right, or like you overcame something huge by listening to spirit, like, I'm not talking about stuff, good deeds, like, oh, you picked up that trash, like, you're not going to hear, like, this necessary, maybe from the fairies and stuff, but you're not going to, it's like a real, you overcame this, like, human blindness and suffering to, like, magically, you know, with inspiration, overcome something massive that has more effect than on just you. And yeah, and so now the masculine energy, I feel, is like, they got their driver's license now, and it's like, well, where are we gonna drive? I was gonna use a swear word, but I'm not there yet. Okay. Right. So then we have the Two of Wands. Yeah, so yeah, I get a lot of energy from this card too. So it's kind of like what was once like a choice is now just like burning up in the flames of insight, because it's like, you know, like there is no, yeah, you can hold two wands all you want till the cows come home, but check it out, like this insight is like, dude, it's like burning up. There is no choice really. Like you can pretend there's a choice. Your friends and family can remind you like there's a choice. It's like, yeah, no. Okay. Then we have the Three of Swords. They call it the Lord of Sorrow. But I feel in this case that these three parties have done their work to like slice and dice the issue to the point where things are clear. And like, while it might not be like considered optimum romantic situation to have three parties involved, like the third party played a role in that they were helping dig up the truth too. And it's like until all the BS is, shed light upon in one way or the other by whoever, then you can't really move forward to an ideal relationship anyway. So it's like, what's the difference between you or some other woman like providing that insight? It's like less work for you. Like I think I'm not like promoting um polygamy or anything here by saying that, but because I know for myself, like I wouldn't want that for myself. Uh, Mostly because it's like burdensome to have to put your attention in many places, because I feel like there's enough mission in life to like you need that energy. It's like a form of babysitting that I don't wish to take part in. So anyhow, one way or the other, this, the relationship when it first started was not mature enough, was not enlightened enough to move forward properly. And so whoever came in, like the plumber, the electrician, the secretary, the neighbor, whatever, like they came in to like do some of that work to clean house. And now, and it wasn't fun. It's like a cutting energy, and it's like can involve words or deeds that seem like harsh and sudden, right? So, but nonetheless, after many instances of that sword energy, and you're just like tired and like, oh my God, like coming out of that energy to be like, okay, I've had some insight. I feel like I've been given a gift from spirit, like a legit present that's like above just living normally. Like, here is your chance. It's overflowing. See it for what it is, because this card doesn't fly in like all the time. Gain some insight on that so that you're in full appreciation of the light. So you're not just being like a tired grandpa doing the same thing over and over again, so that you can actually build something that matters, that's important, that like people in the world can see and respect, and that will house like other great actions by people. And the way to do that is to be like, hey, check it out. I appreciate you. Here's my offer. It's solid. Let's build together. I am taking my effort and my achievements and my, like, what I've worked hard for, whether it's money or stability or, all those things. I am giving you this because I value you. Okay, and then we have the crystal wisdom. So citrine is the card of abundance. Just gonna let you take in that citrine energy. I am aligned at all times with the abundant energy of the universe. This powerful energy flows through me into every aspect of my life. So if you ask citrine to let energy flow through it to you to bring about abundance in every aspect of your life, then you're allowing it and it can come in. And then we have the ancient wisdom crystal. So get a grip on that. Okay. I'm an expression of the powerful ancient wisdom of my soul. It guides me through life. I like these little triangles on it. It reminds me of 2001: A Space Odyssey. Yeah, so I don't know if you have crystals store available to you, even if you don't buy any. If you just go around and vibe on them and pick them up and see what message they have for you, and then you can set them down and thank them. And it's good relationship building with earth energy and how magical and transformative earth energy truly is. And one of our homework that we have right now is appreciating earth, because there's been so many generations of just destroying it and destroying the feminine in general, and you're totally disregarding the power innate in nature. And you don't need to be always in this dominating, what can I get out of you kind of energy with the feminine, with nature energy. And you don't have to always be in a state of imposing on the feminine to get what you want. Working in union is easier, less stressful, and more fun. Okay, so have a good day.